Hello, TV, film, and music fans. This week we've got Nicole Koehn giving us her favorite romantic comedies, Brandon Kratkoczki giving us an underground musician deserving spotlight, and a whole lot more.
So buckle up, because from Ball State University, The Real Deal starts now.
The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Connor Fack.
And I'm Ramel Tadai. Now, even though we're only once a week, the entertainment news cycle never stops, always offering new and exciting developments. Here to talk about some recent Hollywood headlines is Allison Edmonds. What's new, Allison?
Hello everyone, I'm Allison Edmonds, and we're going to get straight into this week's Hollywood headlines. First on the list are the 2015 Grammy Awards. Now, this year was the 57th year for the award show, and everyone looked absolutely stunning. Everyone hit the red carpet in their most stunning apparel, and there were many well-deserved winners at the Grammys this year, such as Sam Smith winning Best New Artist of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. Now, not only did Sam Smith was nominated for each of the big four awards, such as Best Album, Best Record of the Year, Best Song of the Year, and Best New Artist. Now, I think everyone can come to an agreement, however, that Sam Smith had the spotlight Sunday evening at the Grammys. He is such a great artist and is definitely doing well for himself. Now, Sam has definitely been working very hard this past year or so, and now all of his hard work is finally paying off. Now, someone else's hard work who's been paid off at the awards this year was Beck's. Now, Beck won a Grammy for Best Album of the Year, beating out Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Sam Smith, and Pharrell. Now, this caused another scene with Kanye West as he attempted to repeat the same stunt he did at the VMAs back in 2009. Now, as many of you know, Kanye took the mic from Swift and announced that Beyonce's video was the best of all time, quote unquote. This year, he walked on stage as if he were about to repeat the same incident. However, he stopped himself. Now, the host got a behind-the-scenes interview with Kanye as he discussed that Beyonce's visual album was, quote, a work of art, and that Beck should have given his award to Beyonce because she deserved it. Now, Kanye just likes to state his opinion, and I guess there isn't too much that we can do to stop him. Overall, there were a total of 899 nominees at this year's Grammy Awards. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but I never realized that there were so many nominations. Now, the event was a huge success, and a very huge congratulations goes out to all the 2015 Grammy Award winners. Now, switching gears a little to something more animated, the new SpongeBob movie, The SpongeBob Movie Sponge Out of Water, knocks American Sniper clear down the box office charts. The little sponge made $56 million in ticket sales, deposing the Navy SEAL sharpshooter after a 3-week run at #1 spot. This came as a shock to so many people. Now, Megan Colligan, president of Worldwide Distribution for Paramount Pictures, stated the reviews were really excellent, including from some serious tough critics. Now, the film wasn't just for children. Many of the sales for the movie were from teens and adults who have embraced the show since they were children themselves. Now, all in all, I guess we should never really underestimate a sponge. That's all from me. Back to the host.
Thank you, Allison. You know, it's very nice to see SpongeBob having so much success. The original show is still very important for many people our age. You remember that episode when Patrick went crazy at the Valentine's Day themed amusement park?
Yeah, that was quite the intense episode. It's definitely an interesting contrast to the romantic comedy, the probable favorite of Valentine's Day viewing for a lot of people.
And to celebrate that fact, here's Nicole Koehn with a rom-com themed top 5. What great story behind these loves, Nicole?
Hey everyone. So it's Valentine's Day season, and what is more perfect than romantic comedies during the season of love? Nothing. Rom-coms beat everything that goes on this time of year. So here's a list of my top 5 romantic comedies. Number 5, The Wedding Date. This movie follows Kat as she hires a male escort to be her date at her little sister's wedding in order to fool her ex-fiance into thinking that she's moved on. Now, this movie is hilariously awkward as we watch Kat being extremely uncomfortable about lying to her friends and family. Throughout the movie, Kat starts to fall for her hired boyfriend and learns that it's okay to not be perfect. Number 4, 10 Things I Hate About You. Oh, high school love and what some will do for it. When a new kid, Cameron, moves in, he quickly falls for Bianca Stratford. The only problem is that she isn't allowed to date unless her older sister, the all-around intimidating and angsty Kat Stratford, does. So Cameron then thinks up a plan to get Kat to date. Enter the resident delinquent with a mysterious past, Patrick. Now, the plan hits some roadblocks along the way, But in the end, it all works out, and the quick wit makes this a funny take on the typical high school romantic movie. Number 3, Mamma Mia. You can't have a romantic comedy without at least one musical, and this movie has everything. ABBA songs turned into a storyline, Colin Firth in disco wear, and the goddess herself, Meryl Streep. The movie follows a girl trying to find her biological father in time to walk her down the aisle. The only problem is that she doesn't know which one out of 3 men it could be. With an all-star cast and great music, you can't say no to watching Mamma Mia. Number 2, this is a woman-dominated cast, which is always a yes in my book. A cast of the funniest women of the moment is a guarantee for laughing out loud during the entire movie. The story follows Annie as her best friend is getting married and she is slowly realizing that her life is going, well, nowhere. With incredible one-liners and relatable situations, this movie is near the top 5 of everyone's girls' night list. And number 1. My number 1 romantic comedy is the end-all, be-all. This movie has your man crush Mondays, Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, and your woman crush Wednesday, Emma Stone. Crazy Stupid Love. It follows a man going through a divorce and trying to get back in the dating game. With multiple storylines that tie together flawlessly, this movie had me in tears from laughing. And they also throw in Kevin Bacon, which is slightly unnecessary, but, you know, I'm not complaining. So I would recommend, if you have plans or no plans this Valentine's Day, to check out one of my top 5 romantic comedies. I'm Nicole Koehn, back to you guys.
Thanks, Nicole. Now, unfortunately, much like the leads in romantic comedies, the third act of a rom-com, we need to take a break.
Don't worry, because again, like in a rom-com, we'll be right back to where we were in an oddly short amount of time.
Later in the program, we'll have Brandon Kratkoczki talking about a personal favorite under the radar musician, Chauncey Baker giving his opinion on a controversial topic, and more. So stay tuned.
Stay away from me, and stay away from my son!
I can't do that, Claire. I live next door.
That's you, me, and Daddy.
You just want her away from us, the black people.
I've lost everything. I can't lose her, too.
We need to let her know right now that she's worth fighting for.
Do you dislike black people?
Not all of them.
This isn't about black and white.
I love you, Mama.
This is about Eloise.
Keep thinking I can go back and I can fix it myself.
David, stop!
I have to figure out how to make it go back even further.
It could kill you, David.
They fry you if you're wrong.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, for all the different opinions floating around the Real Deal studio, I think that we can all agree that Breaking Bad is a remarkable achievement in television.
Definitely. Fans have been pining for something new ever since Walter White's story came to a close. Fortunately, they were recently given a treat with the premiere of the spin-off Better Call Saul.
Danny Yount is here to give us his pilot watch of the new series. What did you think, Danny?
Yes, everyone, the time has finally arrived. It is the premiere that Breaking Bad fans across the world have been waiting for. The premiere of Vince Gilligan's hit brand new series, Better Call Saul, a spin-off prequel to the award-winning series Breaking Bad. And as a fanboy, the first 2 episodes have already gotten me hooked. Now, I'm about to give away some spoilers, so for those of you who haven't watched any of it yet, I would highly advise you to take these next few minutes to swing by and check out some of the awesome reviews and editorials we have on RealDealBSU.com. This new groundbreaking series starts out with the famous Breaking Bad-esque intro scene where we see our main character Saul Goodman working at what seems to be a Cinnabon inside of a mall. Now this seems to be a flash into the future due to the fact that at the end of the day Saul heads to his house and pops in one of his old VHS tapes of his commercials. Then we flash back to the life before Saul Goodman. His name is Jimmy McGill, played by Bob Odenkirk. The gist of the pilot episode is that Jimmy is a poor, clientless lawyer who will do anything to get a couple bucks in court. So he brews up a plan with two orange-haired skateboard wonder boys to go and scam a woman by the name of Betsy Kettleman, who we learn later that her husband Craig Kettleman is about to be indicted on embezzlement charges after stealing $1.5 million. But just as in Breaking Bad, we see a sudden change of plans when the two skateboard scammers pick the wrong car to scam. After a subtle yet intense car chase scene, the two end up at this Hispanic woman's house. Jimmy finds them at the house, knocks on the door, and wouldn't you know it, it's Tuco Salamanca, the main antagonist in the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad. Vince Gilligan, you've done it again, you biznatch. The second episode shows how Jimmy McGill is a great negotiator. He nearly saved the 2 skateboarding scumbags from certain death. After a few broken legs and a trip to the hospital, he heads back to his brother Chuck's house. It seems as if Chuck has some form of schizophrenia, as he wraps himself in a space blanket to protect himself from the cell phone radiation. Time goes on, and Jimmy gets into "it's showtime" groove of helping clients, bribing the court office woman with beanie babies, and constantly being harassed by the parking lot troll Mike Ehrmantraut for not having enough stickers. The episode ends where a man by the name of Nacho tracks down Jimmy and asks him for the location of Craig Kettleman's $1.5 million. Jimmy is tempted, but turns it down. He says the line, "I'm not a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, not a criminal." Sounds very familiar. I'm excited to see where this goes from here. With ratings already off the charts and having the title as the most watched series premiere in cable TV history, it is unanimous across the globe that this show is going to go places. So what should you get from all this? Don't call Tuco's abuelita a biznatch, ever. Back to you, guys.
Thank you, Danny. It looks like Breaking Bad fans definitely have something to look forward to.
Now, something that's a little more controversial than the merits of Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad has been Clint Eastwood's American Sniper, with passionate opinions on both sides.
Here to give his take on the subject is our very own Chauncey Baker. What's on your mind, Chauncey?
Why can't my man Clint get a break? Seems like his movies either get accused of being sexist, racist, and he ends up talking to chairs. Okay, as ridiculous and outlandish as it was, I still found it to be slightly humorous. Anyway, his latest film, American Sniper, which has been breaking box office records and hearts for almost a month now, has also come under fire. The film, centered around the most deadly sniper in American military history, Chris Kyle, brilliantly portrayed by Bradley Cooper, details the hardships and tough calls that he had to face during his 4 tours in Iraq. It's gritty, bloody, violent, and will strike an emotional chord within you, regardless of your political affiliation. First and foremost, the film has been criticized for being Islamophobic and has been blamed for reigniting anti-Muslim sentiment in America. Have these people even seen the movie? The film does not focus on the religious beliefs of the people Chris Kyle fought against, but the acts of brutality and violence that were dealt out by both sides. Yes, he did call his enemies savages, but even clarified in his book that the film's based on that the savage he was fighting against were not the Iraqis as a whole, but the insurgents he was fighting against. Besides, in any other war film, you will hear the characters refer to their enemies using dehumanizing terms. In Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks calls the Nazis Krauts. In Black Hawk Down, the term skinnies was thrown around quite a bit, referring to the Somalians. In Oliver Stone's Platoon, every American soldier called the North Vietnamese soldiers Charlie and the Viet Cong soldiers Kongs. Does it make these terms right? Of course it doesn't. But these films did not come under fire for the terms that the characters called their enemies. Another issue that the film has faced is the fact that several celebrities, including Michael Moore and Seth Rogen, have called the film pro-America propaganda. At this rate, you might as well call every film that takes place in a war propaganda. If you want to see misinformation in action, you should watch Triumph of the Will, an actual Nazi propaganda film from the 30s. After you've seen this, come report back to me stat. Seth Rogen, who directed, wrote, and starred in The Interview, has no room declaring someone else's film propaganda. Everyone supported his right to his freedom of speech, including me, so he should be supporting Eastwood's, regardless of his political beliefs. If taken for what it is, a non-political war film simply about the struggles of our servicemen and women overseas and the families that they leave behind back home, and not a piece of United States propaganda, then American Sniper will go down as one of the greatest war films of all time. I'm Chauncey Baker, and this has been The Rant. At ease.
Thanks, Chauncey, for your level-headed look at a hot-button issue.
I can only hope that our going to commercial won't become a hot-button issue, too, because we've still got a great show ahead, with Becca Malmberg giving an in-depth look into the upcoming SNL Anniversary Special, Our Final Word, and more.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Connor, do you enjoy hip-hop?
Oh, yes, I'm jive to all the hip, fresh sounds of youth.
Sure you are. Anyways, for those of you who are fans of the genre, Brandon Kratkoczki is here to talk about an artist that may have gone under the radar but deserves your attention. What's the scoop, Brandon?
When it comes to hip-hop, one of the most important things that an artist can create for themselves is a compelling image. Be it Chance the Rapper's smooth, cool Chicago hipster, Kanye's greatest man alive, and Riff Raff's, well, I don't think anyone quite knows what he's going for. But hey, at least he's memorable. The same can be said about longtime underground rapper MF, or Metalface, Doom, who crafted his persona around the Fantastic Four villain Dr. Doom, mask and all. Now, some rappers are never able to live up to their expertly crafted image and revel in mediocrity. Fortunately, Doom has an amazing body of work to back up the ridiculous image and has emerged as one of the most compelling voices in the underground. His first major project, after spending some time in the group KMD, was Operation Doomsday in 1999. The album is quite astounding, as even in his first project he had a strong voice and vision. After a few LPs released under the names King Ghidorah and Victor Vaughn, Doom has a penchant for alternate names. Doom released his masterwork, Mad Villainy. This album came out of a collaboration with noted producer Madlib. It was a revelation, short songs, rapid-fire transitions, and incredible eclectic samples. The album is still seen as one of the most important underground rap albums of the century so far. After Food, a stellar solo album, Doom released The Mouse and the Mask, another acclaimed album he made with a noted producer, this time Danger Mouse. He was most recently seen producing and performing with young up-and-comer Bishop Nehru on the album Nehruvian Doom. This year, he will be releasing his highly anticipated collaboration with Wu-Tang Clan veteran Ghostface Killah. Doom has a very distinct style, often imitated but never bettered. He mostly raps in a hypnotic and husky monotone, allowing the listeners to dissolve into his aural world and become wrapped up in his words. He is also noted for his lyrical stylings. He creates dense, clever, literate phrases, often employing obscure and oddball references. Throughout Mad Villainy alone, he references singer Joe Tex, Worf from Star Trek The Next Generation, and Pinky and the Brain. He is also noted for his production skills. He incorporates smooth, soulful instrumentals and snippets of dialogue from classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Now, some listeners may be put off by the larger-than-life persona, but I promise you that if you strip away the mask, you're still left with a man with an incredible style and body of work. That's it for Under the Radar. I'm Brandon Kratkoczki.
Thanks, Brandon. Sounds like Doom has been putting out a great amount of content over a significant amount of time.
And so has seminal sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live. Take a guess at how long they've been at it.
Based off all the ads that you see around with SNL 40 on them, I'm going to hazard a guess of 40 seasons.
Yep, you got it. And to celebrate that milestone, Becca Malmberg's here to give us an inside look into the upcoming anniversary special. What do we have to look forward to, Becca?
Thanks, guys. SNL will be celebrating its 40th season this Sunday with a huge primetime special. Now, I've been an avid fan of SNL for years now, and I am super excited to see what a huge deal this anniversary special is shaping out to be. Now, NBC has been showing those cryptic ads with lists of names, hopefully alluding to all those people that are going to be participating in the special. Classic names like Bill Murray, Paul Simon, Martin Short, alongside contemporary guests like Justin Timberlake or Tina Fey and Kristen Wiig. The show first aired in 1975, and everyone who's ever hosted, been a musical guest, or been a cast member for more than a season has been invited to return for this special. Executive producer Lorne Michaels has said that the live 3-hour special will include plenty of musical performances, though I'm more looking forward to some classic sketch reenactments, some new sketches that hopefully bring together all the SNL generations, and hopefully some behind-the-scenes features as well. In the meantime, VH1 Classic is re-airing episodes from all 40 seasons until Sunday. Now, I've been reliving some of my favorite seasons as well as watching some older episodes that I've never seen before. If you want to binge watch the show, either watch the VH1 Classic Marathon, check out a few of the seasons that are available on Netflix, or check out some best ofs from the library. Though, don't get your hopes up for squeezing in every episode before Sunday. It would take at least 30 days to watch every episode ever aired, not counting all the primetime specials as well. Be sure to check out SNL's 40th season special, airing live at 8 p.m. this Sunday on NBC. That's all for me. Hope you guys watch.
Thanks, Becca. While we can't promise musical performances or comedy sketches, we can say that there are still a lot of great things ahead for our show.
After the commercial break, we'll have our final word, so stay with us.
Here we go.
She nursed you in the hospital for 3 months after your doped up ass wrapped a car around the tree.
But I saw that tree. It was telling me to hit it.
Join us.
It ain't good.
Huh?
They're beautiful.
Thanks for sticking with us. Now, motion pictures are not the newest art form on the block, especially compared to older ones like painting, theater, or literature. But they've still been around for generations.
And in addition to the studios themselves, a few lucky companies have been a part of Hollywood history since pretty much the beginning. Here with two of the old standbys and why they're still making headlines today, this is the final word.
First up is Technicolor. In case anyone thought that the venerable film lab and color consultant had gone the way of the dodo, not only are they still around, but Technicolor Inc. is actually celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. Admittedly, a much different corporation than they were when they were founded in their heyday, the company traces its roots all the way back to 1915, with the Techne in the title being an homage to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, alma mater of 3 of Technicolor's founders. After first introducing a primitive color process in 1916, the company really hit its stride with its 3-strip process in 1932. For the next 20 years, the golden era of Hollywood, if a studio wanted to make a color film, they went to Technicolor. Not that it was easy. Studios rented enormous, bulky camera units from the colorists, 2-by-4-foot boxes on wheels, inside of which 3 separate reels of film simultaneously captured layers of red, green, and blue that their dye transfer labs would later combine into a single reel of rich full-color film. And not only was the camera huge, but its film stocks required intense light to develop correctly. This in turn made the sets for most color pictures almost unbearably hot, sometimes exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. These limitations, as well as Kodak's introduction in 1952 of color film that recorded onto a single strip, spelled the end for Technicolor as Hollywood's automatic go-to color suppliers. But after floundering to find a purpose for decades, their name and innovative legacy were salvaged from obscurity by French media tech conglomerate Thomson, who acquired Technicolor in 2002 and rebranded the entire corporation under that name in 2010. They now focus on digital frontiers, including the development of the Blu-ray disc and continuing to consult for color on major motion pictures. And as recent Oscar winners for Best Cinematography, Gravity, Hugo, and Life of Pi can all attest, there's nothing quite so vibrant as color by Technicolor.
The Eastman Kodak Company, or as we all know simply as Kodak, is focused on imaging solutions and services for businesses. But did you know that the company is also known for their contributions to the motion picture industry, specifically for entertainment and commercial films, with the invention and development in film stocks? Transparent film stocks first started as a celluloid which allowed the film to be flexible and included a frosted base to facilitate easier transmitted light, and resulted in orthochromatic emulsions, or didn't change color on a binding to a target. Various inventors, including George Eastman, the founder of Kodak, experimented with the film to create stock for a kinetoscope. Though Eastman experienced problems with production, others collaborated with laboratories such as Thomas Edison's to supply film stock. Eastman's first motion picture film stock was offered in 1889, and by 1895, he supplied his motion picture roll film in rolls of 65 feet. Eventually, after many years of standardization, Kodak introduced their first 35mm color negative stock in 1950, and 2 years later, a higher quality version which quickly became the color motion picture go-to for production for Hollywood, replacing the expensive 3-strip Technicolor process, as Connor mentioned before. After much success, Kodak unfortunately began to struggle financially in the late 90s as a result of the decline in sales of their other main venture in photographic product sales during the digital photography transition. Filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in January 2012, Kodak ceased making camera products and focused on corporate digital imaging, which then, in September 2013, eventually allowed them to emerge from bankruptcy by relieving from many of their liabilities and businesses. Recently, Kodak announced to continue to supply film to Hollywood's 6 major studios: 20th Century Fox, the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers Entertainment, NBC Universal, Paramount, and Sony Pictures. With many filmmakers behind lobbying for the company, all have urged other studios to join the movement in reaching agreements to ensure the continued production of film stock. In a statement with the Film Foundation last summer, Martin Scorsese noted that film is still the best and only time-proven way to preserve movies. We have no assurance that digital information will last, but we know that film will, if properly stored and cared for.
And that wraps up the show for this week. Be sure to check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Connor Fack.
And I'm Ramel Tadai. We'll see you next time.